Well, the injury for Marc Casado was really bad news for all Barcelona, but especially Hansi Flick. But can this be the best opportunity for Gavi and to get the best version of him that we have seen yet? In this video, I'm going to show you why Frenkie de Jong and Gavi could be the next two players who step up to the plate. And hey, next guy mentality. But before we get started on this tactical video, I wanted to thank each and every one of you who have subscribed. We have reached 336, and I want to invite you, if you're not part of this community, to subscribe, to like, and comment your thoughts as always. Anyway, so let's get started into this video. And in this video, the injury to Marc Casado was really unfortunate. Unfortunately, before we begin, well, in the beginning of the season, right? We didn't know if we had a defensive midfielder. We were thinking like, who are we going to bring in? But having somebody like Hansi Flick, somebody who understands football and somebody who can scout, it's so important because he found Marc Bernal, and Marc Bernal was outstanding. He was incredible, and we didn't know we had him until that injury on his first official game, which is it was hard to believe the way everything went down with him. And after that, we were like, well, now what do we have? And Hansi Flick pulled another rabbit out of the hat, and we found Marc Casado, right? And Marc Casado was so great until Frenkie de Jong came back from his injury and started playing so well, so well. So what I'm trying to get at here is that not just because somebody gets injured doesn't mean that the season's over by any means, or that Hansi Flick cannot figure anything else out. And in this video, we are going to answer a lot of questions, and we're going to answer a lot of um, doubts that people may have as far as what Hansi Flick is going to do. Is Gavi going to be that guy in that defensive role? Is Eric, for example, in my opinion, to just, spoiler alert here, I don't think Gavi is the man for that kind of job. Gavi is a player who likes to play offensively more than defensively, even though he has a lot of defensive qualities. So it might be a thing of Hansi Flick trying to figure out where's that middle ground between a player who likes to attack and a player who loves to defend as well. The very first thing that I want to highlight is Pedri's level. So Pedri, as we all know, is he does a masterful job. He's the standard, right, in the midfield area. So Pedri was great from the beginning of the season, but as the season went on, you can see how when Frenkie de Jong kind of came back from that injury and got back into shape and started playing so well, it kind of unlocked that next level Pedri that we have never seen before. So now every game for Pedri is like 8.5, 9.0. It's amazing the way that Pedri can play together with Frenkie de Jong. And what made that Barcelona team so well from Pep Guardiola was not just that we had Xavi, it was the fact that we had Xavi and Iniesta, and it was like a cheat code on in the midfield area, right? Having those two guys as a 1-2 punch, and it's basically what Hansi Flick is trying to build with Pedri and Frenkie de Jong. And of course, Frenkie de Jong is not Xavi, but Frenkie de Jong has a lot of Xavi qualities and has a lot of, and we're about to see right now. And the one thing that I want to highlight about this Barcelona club is just how diversified we have become as an offense, and how we can just plug and play players in and out of lineups. And for example, in this instance, Rafinha is another player who has moved around a lot. And in the Atletico game, he made that cross for Ferran Torres from the right from the right side of the field. And in this instant, we can see him, and he's playing as a center forward, and Lewandowski is playing his left wing position. So Barcelona is very difficult to defend from that standpoint. It's like players can play in a lot of areas, and you don't see them, you don't see other teams doing things like this. And this is how Hansi Flick has become tough, really tough to defend. And what we're gonna see here is a kind of like a give and go play with Frenkie de Jong. And what I'm going to show here is that not just a lot there's been put out there that Frankie de Jong only plays back and only passes the ball back, and that could not be further away from the truth. And as you can see, he's going, as you're about to see later in a graphic that I'm going to show you, Frankie de Jong is a player who likes to progress rather than pass it back. He's always looking for progressions. He's always breaking lines, trying to attack and go forwards instead of backwards. And that's one of the things that he's being criticized for, and it's people who are not studying or looking at film or looking at. And as you can see, this play turns into this play right here, and see how Frankie de Jong is attacking all the spacing, all the space that you gave him. Is one of the in my other tactical videos I show how good of a job that Pedri and Frankie de Jong did when they had one less man, when they were one man down, attacking all the spacing that Benfica was literally giving them. And this play didn't really end up scoring. It wasn't even a great scoring opportunity, but it was a great example of the kind of things that Frankie de Jong can do for this team, and the way that he's always looking to attack. Another thing that I want to highlight is Frankie de Jong is not the best defender, but he is the best when it comes to a build-up play. So this is going to be a build-up play that Barcelona is going to start with Martinez, and is going to find Balde here. So how it's going to start? It's going to start like this, and then it's going to start like this, and it's going to be a progression from Frankie de Jong. This is all Frankie de Jong right now, and you see right now when he's surrounded by essentially what's a man-on-man situation, but he's surrounded by four players in this instance. But what he's going to do, he's going to do a give and go, and then he's just going to take off like this. And this is why he's so vertical. And one of the things that I believe that Real Madrid is lacking is a player like Frankie de Jong. They only have Jude Bellingham, and that's why their attack is not so clear per se. Their attack is not so perfect, and you don't see players trying to break lines. You don't see play. Everything is individual qualities, individual plays, but they need an attacker, a midfielder who can progress and do passes and do progressions in this team, and that's kind of like what their problem is. But that's neither here nor there. And as you can see, Frankie de Jong is going to leave all this spacing right here, but it's not even going to matter because we're on attack mode. And at the end of the day, we do take some risk by leaving this spacing. But since we are so good on the ball and we can attack, you can see he almost scored that situation. And you can hardly see someone playing the pivot coming and running all the way down, kind of like in the same position where Rafinha is to score this goal. He's neck and neck with Lewandowski and Rafinha. Okay, let's take a look at ball progressions, right? The player who gives us the most ball progressions is Pedri with 10.6 per game. The next player, man up, is going to be 9.8. So that's pretty close to. So this, you see how Frankie de Jong and Pedri are such a one-two punch, incredible. Íñigo Martinez, it's very underrated with 9.8, so he does a lot of ball progressions, and we saw that on display on the Lewandowski game against Atletico, and we also saw it in the Lamine Yamal. I'm sorry, no, on the actually Ferran Torres, the Ferran Torres goal, and that's just what Inigo Martinez does really well. And that's going to be my knock on Gavi. With Gavi only has 4.6. That's not great. That's not a lot. And I think that's why he can't play that pivot role because we need a somebody there who can make a lot of ball progressions, to be quite honest with you. And this is kind of the area where he lacks, but there's another area where he is going to be very good, and we're going to talk about it in just a little bit. So as far as breaking lines, the one thing I want you guys to know before we speak on it is that breaking lines, it's easier the further you are from the goal, the easier it is to break lines. So, for example, it's going to be easier for a defender to have more breaking lines than an attacker who is the last line of that defensive area for the opponent, right? So for Lewandowski, he can't really break a lot of lines because he's so close to that area. As Inigo Martinez is not surprised to me that he's there with 9.3 because he's a defender. He's a defender who likes to attack, so he breaks a lot of lines. So then it's Pedri, then it's De Jong, and then Kubarsi. This is why it's so important for us to, in the build-up play, to have so good on the ball type of C-backs per se. You know, that's why Araujo struggles so much in this Barcelona starting 11 because he doesn't have ball progressions. And as we can see, Gavi is all the way down here again with 4. So Gavi lacks a little bit of this kind of lines. And to me, I would say that, you know, it's not to say that Gavi shouldn't do well or wouldn't do well. I just don't think that, you know, that this is what, you know, what he can do. What he can do really well is just the pressing. So defensive duels, he's very high up. You can see him as fourth in defensive duels, and also you can see him just defending in general. He's number one in the team as far as high pressure situations and just a lot of defensive plays. So I think that one of the reasons that Gavi struggles a little bit in this team is because at least the last few games, right, when he's came back from injury, is he's going to attack like this. Always, almost every time, Gavi will look to attack like that. As for Dani Olmo, for example, Dani Olmo is going to attack you in different areas of the field. So, like, he'll attack you like this. He'll go in and out. He'll go right. He'll go left. He'll go middle, and that's just kind of the just how he's built. And Gavi, for example, he's more direct, and it's not that he can associate very well, but that's just kind of how his game is built. And I think Hansi Flick will do a much better job to put him in better positions and to move him around and see where he can play better. But definitely, he wants to play the kind of close, not really like the number 10 role, but it's like what we wanted for Gavi is we thought we were getting is that what the Young is doing for us, and as we can see, they're different type of players, and I think Gavi can do very well in the pivot spot, but it needs time to gel, to understand the kind of role that Hansi Flick wants to ask him. And I think as far as defensively, when I can see it from the numbers, Gavi has the traits to be able to do something kind of like a Sergio Busquets type of player, but it's going to take time. And I don't know if Hansi Flick wants to even do that. You know, let's remember he's new to the team. He doesn't know what players can do and cannot do. And in that sort of aspect of the game is what I want to bring up is that's when Eric as a number 2 for Frenkie de Jong it's better option because Eric has played that role, has done it, he's been there, done that before, and it's much easier to just plug him in than it would be to kind of teach Gavi into that role. I think we can teach Gavi to that role, and Gavi can do it, but I don't know if he's going to be comfortable with it. I don't know if he wants to do that. I don't know if he wants to attack more. But at the end of the day, I think as of right now, Gavi can take advantage of not having Casado right now and take that role, and maybe Hansi Flick will put him on not such of important games and try to put him in that Casado role and see what he can do and see what he can teach us or teach Flick after he can put him in that situation, or otherwise might as well just put Eric on the important games. For example, like if we're playing a Champions League match and for some reason De Jong gets injured, then Eric will be a player you can just plug and play rather than Gavi, because Gavi is not as comfortable with that role, if you guys know what I mean. I hope I didn't confuse you with this, but in reality, what I want is I want to get the best version of Gavi. Injuries will bring back the best of other players that are in the lineup, and it's next man up mentality. And I do believe in Gavi. My only fear with Gavi is I don't want him to think that, to worry. I want him to know who he is, to remember what got him to this place. Just by pressing and just by having a lot of intensity doesn't bring you to the number one team at the age of 17, right? So, yeah, Gavi right now, after this injury, he needs to remember who he is, and he needs to bring the best of him, and he needs to just trust himself that he can be what he can do, and not just think that it's all gone, because if he goes there, it's going to be a dark mental state. So I do believe in Gavi. I think Gavi, that we have not seen the best of Gavi, and Gavi will be back. And hey, let me know down in the comments if you think Gavi can be an important player for us going forward. And that's going to be it for today's video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.